Front page of the Sun newspaper, royal exclusive, Fergie time. Sarah Ferguson, formerly the Duchess of York, of course, is considering offers for a tell-all TV interview in the wake of her public downfall over links to sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. US channels are said to be willing to pay six-figure sums to secure the chat with the former Duchess of York. It would evoke memories of her ex-husband, Andrew Mountbatten's Windsor car crash Newsnight interview. A source told The Sun Andrew's had his chance to tell his story. Now it's Fergie's time. This could be a major headache for the king, couldn't it?
It is the dawn of what insiders are calling Fergie time, a phrase that strikes fear into the heart of Buckingham Palace. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, a woman who has survived debt, divorce, and decades of tabloid scrutiny, is reportedly on the brink of breaking her silence in a way that could shatter the fragile peace of the Windsor family. Reports circulating through the highest echelons of British media suggest that Sarah is actively considering lucrative offers from major US television networks for a tell-all interview. This would not be a polite chat about children's books or corgis. This is being billed as a forensic dismantling of her life, her losses, and, crucially, the cataclysmic downfall caused by her association with the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. For King Charles, currently navigating the early years of his reign, the prospect of his sister-in-law sitting down for a six-figure payday on American television is nothing short of a nightmare.
Well, the whole thing about Dutch and I is that we met when I was 16, she was 14. So we've known each other a very long time, and she had the quickest wit. That's what the thing. Anyway, I think you're referring to our hen night, are you?
Yeah. It threatens to evoke the painful memories of Prince Andrew's own disastrous Newsnight interview, a car crash of media strategy that effectively ended his public life. But while Andrew had his chance to spin the narrative, sources close to the Duchess suggest she feels it is now her turn. The shield is down, the gloves are off, and the woman once ostracized by the firm is seemingly ready to settle the score. To understand the magnitude of this potential betrayal, one must understand the sheer complexity of the relationship between Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. For decades, they have stood as the most baffling anomaly in the royal ecosystem. They were the odd couple who defied all the rules of separation. Their marriage, explosive and dramatic in the 1980s, ended in a divorce that was equally messy in the mid-90s. Yet, strangely, the end of the marriage did not mark the end of the partnership. While other royal couples fractured and fled to separate corners of the country, Andrew and Sarah built a domestic fortress at Royal Lodge that baffled outsiders. They lived together, traveled together, and raised their daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, as a singular unit. They frequently joked that they were the happiest divorced couple in Britain, a label that seemed to stick. Through every scandal that engulfed Andrew, and there were many, Sarah stood as his Praetorian Guard. Through every financial misstep and embarrassment Sarah faced, Andrew provided the safety net. They were a team, fused together by shared ostracization and a refusal to leave the royal fold entirely. But that fortress is crumbling. The united front that withstood the turn of the millennium is now fracturing under the weight of immense legal and social pressure. Allegations are surfacing that the former lovers have turned on one another. The air at Royal Lodge, once filled with the camaraderie of two outcasts against the world, is now reportedly thick with arguments, accusations, and the shifting of blame. The timing could not be worse. Both Andrew and Sarah are currently facing the most intense pressure of their lives, and the survival instinct has kicked in. The core of this new bitterness lies in the radioactive legacy of Jeffrey Epstein. For years, the narrative was one of mutual naivety, but now, the stories are diverging. Sarah is reportedly telling Confidence that it was Andrew who pushed her to reach out to Epstein years ago when she was in dire financial straits. She paints a picture of coercion, feeling forced to deal with the consequences of his associations. She does not want to be the fall guy for his friendships. Andrew, however, is spinning a completely contradictory tale. He reportedly claims that the connection was driven by Sarah's insatiable need for cash, arguing that she was never satisfied with their lifestyle and that her spending habits necessitated the solicitation of funds. This, she said, dynamic is a far cry from the days when they shared Christmas pudding and walked the dogs together in the Windsor Great Park. It is a toxic dissolution of a partnership that survived things that would have destroyed lesser couples. The reality, however, is undeniable. Sarah accepted money from Epstein. Leaked emails have previously revealed that despite publicly denouncing him, she apologized to him privately. For years, she tried to bury this chapter, but the resurrection of the Epstein files and the relentless churn of the legal system have brought it back to the surface, heavier and more dangerous than before. Compounding this domestic war is the looming threat of legitimate legal consequences. Royal biographer Andrew Lone has been speaking with chilling candor about the precipice upon which the Duke of York now stands. Lone suggests that the danger for Andrew goes beyond the social court of public opinion. He posits that Andrew could face charges for misconduct in public office, a serious offense linked to his time as a trade envoy. The allegations are sordid and damaging, claims that Andrew stayed in luxury hotels on the taxpayer's dime, booked expensive extras, used public funds for private convenience, and, most damningly, allegedly paid for escorts while officially representing the British Crown overseas. Lone has gone on record stating that the case against Andrew is clear. The suggestion is that Andrew could face jail time, not necessarily for the accusations regarding Epstein directly, but for financial misconduct and corruption of his public role. This is a terrifying prospect for a man who, just a few years ago, held honorary military titles and enjoyed the full protection of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. But the Queen is gone, and with her went the impenetrable shield of matriarchal protection. King Charles has made it clear that a slimmed-down monarchy has no room for dead weight, and certainly no room for criminal liability. The Metropolitan Police have reportedly been looking into claims regarding Andrew's use of protection officers, adding yet another layer of risk to his precarious existence. Without the royal cover, Andrew is exposed to the elements of the law in a way he has never been before. Insiders describe his situation as vulnerable, noting that he should have a legal team on standby at all times. This existential dread helps explain why the loyalty between Andrew and Fergie has evaporated. When the ship is sinking, passengers stop holding hands and start fighting for the lifeboats. Sarah, too, is not immune. Lone has hinted that the Duchess may be facing her own inquiries regarding the management of her charities and the flow of funds. While nothing has been proven, the mere suggestion of financial impropriety puts her in a dangerous position. She is navigating a future where she must earn a living, hence the temptation of the US TV deal, but she must do so while dodging the shrapnel of her past decisions. IT is a stark contrast to the golden days of their youth, a time they both seem to cling to as the walls close in. To understand what has been lost, one must look back at the genuine affection that once defined them. There was a time when Sarah Ferguson and the royals were a riot of joy. We are reminded of the infamous Hen Night story, a tale that Sarah has recounted with a mix of nostalgia and sadness. It was the era of Diana and Fergie, the terrible twins of the monarchy who brought life and chaos to the palace. Sarah has recalled the night vividly in past interviews, describing a scene that seems impossible in today's buttoned-up era. She and Diana, fueled by mischief and perhaps a bit of champagne, decided to dress as policewomen for a night out. They had gathered a motley crew, Elton John's wife, Billy Connolly's wife, and hit the town in uniform. They went to Annabelle's nightclub, convinced their disguises were foolproof. Sarah remembers the thrill of it, the way they were mistaken for kissograms rather than real officers, and the hilarity when they were eventually asked to leave the club for impersonating police. They were even technically arrested, jokingly, when the real police realized who they were. The Princess of Wales and the Duchess of York, giggling in the back of a van, caught seemingly after Diana had eaten a smoky bacon crisp. That memory of unity and laughter and harmless rebellion underscores just how dark the current timeline has become. The laughter is gone. The unity is shattered. And now, they must face the public, not as the fun-loving rebels, but as pariahs attending a family event that no one wants them to ruin. This brings us to the upcoming christening of their granddaughter, Athena. Princess Beatrice is organizing the baptism at the Chapel Royal inside St. James's Palace. It is a venue steeped in history, intimate and sacred, usually the setting for moments of supreme family joy.